Sleigh bells ringing, diamonds blinging, carols singing, favorite season. Sleigh bells ringing, diamonds blinging, carols singing, favorite season. They said, say Nick, what you got up in that bag, yeah. I got racks in my sack or in my back, yeah. They said, say Nick, what you got up in that bag, yeah. I got racks in my sack or in my back, yeah. Frozen, neck is frozen, catch me rolling, I'm the chosen.
Turning the page a little bit with someone who's signed a deal that maybe is feeling some regret. The Urban Meyer story in Jacksonville just continues to get worse and worse. The Jaguars are a terrible team. They're 2-11. Obviously, earlier in the year, Urban Meyer had the mishap after the Cincinnati Bengals game, going back to Columbus, Ohio, and being caught out partying in the college town. More news, more stories breaking out from Jacksonville over the past week after they lost to Tennessee. Miles, you want to cover a little bit more on that?
Oh, yeah. I have some specifics pulled up. Sunday morning, this bombshell of a report came out from NFL media people indicating that Urban Meyer has called out his assistant coaches in an embarrassing fashion in front of the team. Really just chastised them, said they're not doing enough. They're the reason that they're sucking. Not his fault. It's their fault. It's also stated that he potentially had a heated exchange with veteran wide receiver Marvin Jones. And if this isn't enough, Urban, there's locker room turmoil against the coaches, turmoil against the players. When he goes to talk to the media about his performance in the past weeks, a news media person asked him about a safety that he had a big hand in drafting, Andre Sisco, and has asked about his playing time and if he will be getting more playing time. And Urban said, yeah, Sisco's been playing a little bit. I believe he's been doing pretty good. Sisco played 0 snaps last week. He clearly has no idea what's going on with the team. And I don't even think he knows what he's doing as a coach anymore. He's truly lost his way, and it's kind of embarrassing at this point.
Yeah, so there's a couple things with Urban Meyer. The first thing, we got to talk about how when he showed up, the Jacksonville Jaguars were a disaster. I think they had 9 of their last 10 seasons were 10-loss seasons. They had 1 year intermingling in there. That was kind of a miracle year. Other than that, they've been a dumpster fire of an organization. He goes there. He's not used to that, right? He coached at Florida. He coached at Ohio State. But even when those schools are bad, they still have top 5, top 10 talent. Just the way they can recruit. He's not used to going to an environment where they're mediocre talent, mediocre coaching staff compared to the rest of the organizations he has to compete with. And he clearly was not prepared. Number 2, Urban Meyer came to that organization we talked about in our earlier shows. He tried to treat it like it was a college program where he could institute, remember the practices where they would do the crazy competitiveness and they would potentially cut players depending on one-on-one drills and all that kind of stuff. Right? That stuff doesn't fly when you're in the NFL and you've got players on your team who make as much money or more money than you, or even players that are close. That may work in college when you're dealing with 18, 19-year-old kids who are scared to death of going back to their hometown failures. It doesn't work when you're dealing with grown men. And he doesn't appear to have changed any of that kind of mindset at all. And it really comes to light when you look at how he treated his coaching staff. Look, NFL coaches, position coaches, and coordinators are at the literal top of their profession. These guys are the best coaches in the world by far. They outclass everything you see in college, right? Failed college coaches, don't go to the NFL. Failed NFL coaches get called the next day for college head coaching jobs. That's how much it's revered, right? An assistant linebackers coach for Baltimore gets called to be a defensive coordinator for Michigan. That's how it works. NFL coaches are cream of the crop. And Urban Meyer to criticize them like that and call them losers is absolutely inexcusable, especially for a guy who's only won 2 NFL games this far in a season. He's lost all sense of reality. For whatever reason, he thought he would go to Jacksonville and it was going to be like Ohio State and they're going to run the table. But no, it's not. And I really wish that he would take some accountability. He built this coaching staff. He signed the players. He drafted the rookies. Take some responsibility. You think you're a winner? Well, you're 2-11. Bill Parcells once said, you are what your record is. Urban Meyer needs to wake up and realize he is the loser.
And I think you're leaving out some valid credibility on that quote that Nick Rudman's dad once said, that Bill Parcells once said, that you are what your record says you are. And that is absolutely 100% true. And his record is absolutely terrible. And I think he is terrible as an NFL head coach. He's proven in college that he can do it. I don't think he's long for this NFL world. But I think the tough part is that the Jaguars buying out his contract won't be that easy. I think there's a lot of nasty language in there that's going to be tough to get through. So they may be stuck with Urban for as long as Urban wants to stick it out.
Yeah, and I think the one concern, if you're the Jaguars organization, Jaguars fan, the biggest concern is, are you wasting the young talent you have on the team? You obviously have Trevor Lawrence, right? You got some Travis Etienne, you got some young guys. And are you wasting those years of potentially what they could be on a coach that's clearly lost the organization? Like, the thing that blows my mind with Urban so much is you have coaches that come in and sometimes they're like real hard on the players and the players don't like them, but the coaching staff is like together. Or you have the opposite where like the coaching staff has turmoil, but the players, are together.
This is neither.
Urban Meyer has none of that. Like, not only does he not have the coaching staff together or the players together, he also doesn't have the travel coordinator together or any of the support staff because he won't even fly home with them after a game. Like, he has no part of the organization wound together. I don't think I've ever seen just a head coach come in that was so hyped, or any head coach, I don't care how hyped you were, come in and do such a bad job at every level, from his staff to his players to the organization. This has just been a dumpster fire from Urban Meyer, and it just gets worse and worse and worse the more and more news breaks.